Hello, Dimitri. Listen, I can't hear too well. Do you suppose you could turn the music down just a little? Oh, that's much better.
The tragicomedy, a play or novel containing elements of both comedy and tragedy. In recent years, this has also become a popular genre within the film and TV industries. From my experience with the genre, most tragicomedies tend to consist more of comedy than they do of tragedy, often using said tragedy for means of comedy with little to no emotional notes. Sometimes we get the reverse of that, where the emotional notes far overpower the comedic ones. It's rare to find a good middle ground between tragedy and comedy, but not impossible. One recent example that finds the perfect balance is Jim Cumming's Thunder Road. The 2018 feature-length based off the short of the same name uses many techniques to pressure audiences' emotions from smiling and laughing 1 minute to crying and weeping the next. While the script and performances are outstanding, it wasn't until I focused more on the technical side that I noticed how Cummings was able to make me switch between emotions so frequently and so effectively. Let me explain.
You want me to talk? Yeah, I'll talk. Ask me to talk, fuck, I'll talk all day I'm having.
It was a simple change in perspective, forced upon the viewer by changing the shot size. Charlie Chaplin once stated, life is a tragedy when seen in close-up, but a comedy in the long shot. Here, Cummings took this idea of comedy as tragedy in the long shot and zoomed in. Cummings constantly uses zooms and pans throughout the runtime of the film to change the shot size. These techniques are used in long takes to subconsciously change how an audience views a scene, without a cut in between to indicate he has done so. Let's take a look at the opening scene.
Hey guys, going in. I'll be right there. Thank you for coming.
This scene is mostly made up of a 12-minute long tracking shot that follows Officer Jim Arnott at his mother's funeral. This is a tragic moment, and the shot makes us feel this by forcing us to focus on our main character. However, when Jim is called up to make his eulogy, the camera pans left, following Jim into the aisle and transforming the shot from a close-up of Jim in a vulnerable moment into a wide shot of the entire funeral, where it's revealed to us that Jim is carrying a pink CD player, causing the scene to change from tragic to comedically awkward. These pan tracking shots are used throughout the film. Combining this with clever blocking, Cummings is constantly able to change the size of the shot by simply following our main character with a pan.
Don't worry about that bullshit. I'm gonna see you guys on the 6th.
When Jim begins his eulogy, he is in the centre of a wide shot and exposed to the entire funeral. When he begins to speak, the shot begins to slowly zoom. But for a few minutes, Jim's nervous, awkward, and clearly unplanned speech is consistently amusing.
She was a bitch, this girl. And I know you're not supposed to say that about a little girl, bless her heart, but she used to bite kids a lot, and she'd just come out at you, and the nightmares I used to have.
Cummings uses a slow zoom throughout to move the audience from close to long perspectives at his own will. Often combined with long takes, spreading the zoom over a few minutes, these zooms can make drastic perspective changes without an audience noticing. About 5 minutes into the scene, the camera reaches a mid-shot. Here, the awkwardness becomes less comedic and more uncomfortable, as the zoom pushes forward, forcing us to leave the comfort of the funeral attendee and step into Jim's shoes. However, the zoom does not stop, and neither does Jim. As his speech spirals out of control and he begins to break down, the shot becomes a tracking close-up, trapping the audience with Jim and forcing them to feel for him, and changing the initial comedic awkwardness into heartbreaking despair over the loss of his mother, creating a situation which is incredibly hard to watch.
And so she'd read all the things I had to read so I could do well in school. That's all she wanted.
The shot then zooms back out for the comedically embarrassing dance that Jim does featuring no music, leaving the back and forth of the wide and mid shots to continue throughout the scene and the rest of the film. In the wide shot, viewers are put into a bystander's shoes, giving them an escape from the devastating scenes that are going on in front of them, with Cummings cleverly using visual gags and awkward character writing within the traumatic event to manipulate the situation into a more comedic one. But in the close-up, audiences are forced into our characters' shoes, making these scenes genuinely difficult to watch, using the closeness of the shot to trap the audience, giving them no space to look away and provoking them into feeling the same emotions the characters are. This all creates such a simple but innovative technique that moves audiences in and out of tragedy and comedy, When combined with the devastating script, crippling score and Cumming's perfectly awkward performance, the film manages to find the perfect balance between tragedy and comedy and leaves me laughing and crying every time.
Great.
Yeah.
So, you going?
Yeah,
or-
let's get going.